I guess that's a good segue to the next question, which is, and I get this a lot, both, you know, people will say, how often should I water? But they'll also say, like, I've got this problem with my plant. What am I doing wrong? And I'll be like, well, you're either watering it too much or not enough.
Too much or too little, yeah.
So the question is, how much water is enough and how much is too much?
Yeah.
Easy question to ask, no problem.
Yeah, easy question to ask, hard question to answer. You need to be watching the plants. You need to be looking at the soil, and saying, okay, when I dig in the soil, does it feel moist or not? Any kind of a reasonable garden soil should be able to hold water, a week's worth of water. You should be able to restrict your watering to once or at most twice a week, if we aren't getting regular rain. If you're watering more frequently than that, what's going to happen is you get shallow roots that are in the soil zone that dries out very quickly, and nothing going deeper because they've never had to.
Right.
And the tendency, if you're watering frequently, is to put on a small amount each day, and then it doesn't get down into the soil, and you actually get moist on top, dry underneath. And it's not until you get enough. That does two things. One, you've got a shallow root system. The other thing is you've broken the continuity of the water in the pores.
Okay.
If you've got a soil that's evenly moist from the surface down, down to the water table, it will actually pull water up into the soil.
Oh, through capillary action.
Through capillary action.
I see, you're right.
If you've got a dry layer, that water will just stay down there. It won't come up to the surface to where the roots are.
I see. Right.
Yeah. So you want to be careful you don't break that continuity. And that comes to something, people say, well, I'm going to put in trickle irrigation, and that's a little bit each day. And trickle irrigation is very efficient, but you have to be watering enough and watering soon enough that the soil never dries out. If the soil dries out, trickle irrigation, you can never put enough water on to catch up.
Okay.
So you have to start sooner.
Right.
Because
you're not getting it's just a steady supply, but if it's
a steady supply. So if you've got that continuity, of the water with what's deeper in the soil, it'll keep the soil moist. But if you let the soil dry out, well, you're going to have a puddle of wet surrounded by dry, which means you restrict your root system to that puddle of wet, and the plants will never do as well. And you will actually, in some years, you will actually use more water with trickle irrigation than you would with a conventional sprinkler.
Really? Right.
Because the sprinkler, you would tend to water less frequently.
But hit it.
Water. You're trying to put water that's going to soak in 6-8 inches or a foot.
Right. I think sometimes people get, even me, I get into this dilemma when you've got really, really young seedlings. You're really tired. So the roots aren't that deep. You don't know quite how deep they are, like a carrot, let's say.
Right.
Okay. So you got a carrot that's an inch high, and it get a super hot sunny day. And so you don't water it because you watered it the day before. And then you get another super hot sunny day, and you're like, why? Because the roots aren't down that deep, and you're like, just should I water it? Should I leave? If that so you got the soil, and let's say use this as an analogy. The soil is like a cup full of water, and the water's going down, right? And the roots going down into the cup but is it keeping up with the, because the water level, kind of say the moistness level is going down. Can the roots keep up? To some extent, that most plants, the seeds, they're evolved to handle that, because that's just you got a rainy season, and then things just dry out and the roots get deeper and deeper, and they can keep up with it. But when you've got a semi-artificial sort of gardening, that the weeds can do it. You sure as hell do it. But some of your cultivars, and you don't know if they can do it. I always get certain things, like I don't worry about potatoes and some things like that, but carrots, for some reason, I'm always worried. Like, are they keeping up? Do I need to water that? Am I gonna
they're slow off the start, so it's always a concern. Yeah. And you don't want to see them germinate and then get stranded in dry soil.
Yeah.
Which can happen. The neat thing is, that's where a trowel is useful, and just dig a hole. The neat thing about the way water behaves is it will flow faster through the big pores than through the small pores, and it will flow faster in wet soil than in dry soil. So whether we're looking at infiltration from the top down or capillary action from the bottom up, you can see a definite wetting front.
Right.
You'll see a line that's moist on one side and dry on the other.
Yep.
And it is very distinct.
Like a strata.
Yeah. And so you can look at it and say, oh, okay, my seedling, or my seeds are here. I expect the roots to be a half inch into the soil, and my moist soil is down 2 inches. Maybe I better water.
Right. Okay. Well, so take a little cross section sort of thing.
Yeah.
Assuming you know how deep your roots are.
It's always a judgment call.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly. But if you're okay, the seeds are an inch high, and what you call it, the moist level, that's 6 inches.
The wetting front.
The wetting front is 6 inches down.
It's not going to get there.
Exactly. All right, so how much water is enough, and how much? What you're saying is you really have to be in touch with what you're growing and your soil, and you got to be plant-like. You got to be plugged into it, and just be aware of what's going on, and the needs of whatever you're growing, and everything you're growing has different needs. And like something like a potato, when I plant that, I stick them about 6 inches down, then I put a mulch on top. I never water. Who cares?
You've got
problem solved.
And lots of root there that's going to get down.
Yeah.
And lots of, if you like, lots of spare energy there in the seed piece.
Yes.
Get a root down.
Yes.
A carrot seed.
Yeah. The potato has water in it. It's it's got its own water source. It's the real survivor. But then something like a pumpkin, right, where if you can get the roots in there, and it's once the roots are fully developed, they're amazing. But there's a period of time when a pumpkin's young where it's really difficult to know. If you have it in certain places, I have found that whole family, that pumpkin, squash, that sort of thing, it's no good planting them in the raised beds. I have the hardest time getting them to grow well. When I plant them at grade in good soil, it's effortlessly. You just stick a seed in the ground and do nothing. But when it's up a few inches from grade, and I live in a fairly wet place, but when it's up like 6 inches or a foot above grade, it is the most challenging thing, that the roots just cannot seem to get down to the water where it is. Maybe it's the kind of soil I've got, but it's Jesus. If you watch any of my videos, it's good looking soil. It's that black stuff that you grab it and you squeeze it, it stays in a little snowball, but not too much. You just tap it and it falls apart. It's like great black, nice stuff from composting and all. It's but anyway, getting off topic here.